Hello, everyone. So today, I'm going to be talking about the word of the Lord for July 2019. This is my first time ever doing the word of the Lord for a month. And how this came about was, I always look for the word of the Lord for the month. And, I think it's really cool. I really do believe these people hear from God about what to expect this month, the month coming. And so I went to bed last night, and everyone that knows me knows that I dream. But I went to bed with a thought on my mind. I just said, God, I wish you would tell me, the word of the Lord for July. And I just think that would just be really cool if you would tell me what the word of the Lord for the July was. So I went to bed, and then I had this dream, and I'm just going to tell you the dream. So the dream was this. I was looking at a teacher, and she was at the front of the class, and she was asking the students to give a word that would take up 31 spaces. And I noticed at the teacher's feet looked like a crustacean, maybe like a crab or something, but it was huge, and it was laying on its back. And you could see all its little legs flailed out, but it really wasn't moving its legs. You know how a bug is on its back and it tries to get itself over? It really wasn't struggling at all. So it might have been dead, but it was just sitting there on its back. And I remember seeing this animal's soft belly. Like, you could tell it had a hard shell, but its belly was exposed, a soft belly. So the teacher, like I said, asked a question, for the students to give a word that would take up 31 spaces. Kind of like, if you were playing Wheel of Fortune or something like that, and you'd have to think up a word, or if you were playing like a crossword puzzle, you would have to think of a word that would take up so many spaces. Well, this was the same thing. So she was yelling out, give me a word that would take up 31 spaces. And then someone yells out, I see a cloud the size of a man's hand. And then that was the end of the dream. And so I woke up like, okay, God, that was kind of weird. What is that about? Well, the interpretation is this. The 31 spaces are the 31 days of July. So this is going to be a month filled with blessings and opportunity. And it's going to take up 31 days, meaning each day there's going to be blessing and opportunity coming your way, whether you realize it or not. But it should be blatant because God has given me that it's going to take up 31 spaces. So every day of July, I'm going to be expecting some type of blessing or opportunity, some type of overflow, whatever. The enemy is going to be on his back, a place of submission. So anytime you see most of the time in the animal kingdom, when you see an animal's belly, like if you think about a dog, if they turn over and show their belly, I'm not talking about like if he's trying to get a belly rub, but amongst other animals, when they turn over and they show their belly, that's saying that they submit and that they submit to your authority. So what's going on here is that in July, you're going to see that the enemy is going to regress. Some of us have been fighting the enemy so bad for so long, and the enemy has just been relentless. And be that as it may, God has allowed the enemy to fight us for one reason or another. Some of you may be asking, God, why are you allowing the enemy to do this and that and the other thing to me? And the enemy has just been relentless, and God has allowed it. But in this July, that is going to break. That is going to break because you're going to use your kingdom authority, and you're going to declare some things of your life, and the enemy is going to have to back up and basically roll over, basically lay down and die, because your blessings are no longer going to be held back from you. So expect that. The time of, because God will use the enemy to test you. So the time of testing will be over in July. It's going to be a time to reap from the passing of the test. That's why it was a teacher in the dream. You're going to be reaping from all those times that you were obedient when God told you, all right, well, don't do this. Okay, well, cut this friend off. Go where I tell you to go. And it didn't make sense because maybe the people he told you to cut off were really good people and you couldn't understand why. I mean, good Christian people, and you couldn't understand why God was telling you to cut them off. So, but because you were obedient, you're going to reap now in July. And that's because you passed the test of being obedient and doing what he said. Also, there's may have been things that have come up to you. Maybe you had an opportunity to like gossip about somebody. Maybe you had an opportunity to do something to take take matters into your own hand. Maybe someone did you wrong, but you saw that you could have gotten them back if you wanted to. Maybe you had an opportunity to take revenge or whatever, and you didn't do it. So and it was a setup to see if you would do it. And because you didn't do it, you're now going to be reaping from that. So your blessings that have been a long time in coming, you've been asking God, when, Lord? How long, oh Lord? When is this going to happen for me? God, I know I'm not supposed to compare myself to everybody else, but everybody else seems to be, have it on and popping, and I don't have, nothing seems to be moving in my situation. Well, this month of July, you're going to see that things are going to start moving. And so this time, when you ask the question, how long, oh God? When you've been asking, you've been going out and asking, and nothing, and you see nothing's happening, nothing's moving. This time in July, when you go out, just like in, because the size of a man's hand, that a cloud the size of a man's hand, that comes from 1 Kings 18:44. So when you go and you see and nothing's happening, and you've gone, and figuratively speaking, you've gone 6 times and nothing has happened. The 7th time you go and you ask God, when is it going to happen for you? You're going to see the cloud the size of a man's hand. So meaning that this time in July, you're going to see that things are going to start to move. You're going to see a cloud the size of a man's hand. You're going to see something that's happening, starting to manifest in the natural, but it's going to happen like it's going to look little and insignificant. So what looks little and insignificant is going to balloon into a big old storm, a big old rainstorm. So rain in the spirit, in the spiritual sense, is basically the drought. The time of drought, the time of things not moving, it's going to flow. The Holy Spirit is going to rain upon your circumstances. Things are going to start happening for you. And, maybe it could be your job situation. It could be your finances. Your finances, the flood of finances is going to start to come in. Or maybe it's your health. God is about to rain on your health and healing you. Maybe it's the child that won't get right. God is going to start reigning in that child's life. You're going to see a difference. There are going to be so many different things that's going to happen, that's going to come and saturate your circumstances. So begin to expect in July things to start moving. So I believe that interprets the dream, but there's some things, because you can always go deeper. No matter what, you can always go deeper. So, but I want to bring up the fact that there's 31 days in July. I think I said that. And that July is equal to the number 7 because, we number the, when we write everyone knows that when we write the date, it corresponds to a number. So like January is 1. So June is the number 6. and 6 is the number of man. So all this time up until June, God has been making a man out of us. So 6 is the number of man. On the sixth day, in Genesis, on the sixth day, God made man. So June, figuratively speaking, the number 6, all the way up until June, God has been making your character, been testing your character, been fine tuning you to be able to receive in 7 your rest. All that hard work that you've done, all that hard work that you've done all the way up until June 2019, you are now in July about to receive rest. You're about to receive rest, and you're about to receive and the reason why you're going to be able to rest is because you're going to be receiving all these blessings. These blessings are going to overtake you. And so you're not going to have to strive and struggle and just, muddle through life, because now you're about to reap your harvest and things are going to go much smoother. We can struggle in all things. It doesn't always have to be money. If you have a health problem and you've been asking the Lord to heal you, and you've been struggling with this health problem, and it's like a drudgery every day. I don't know. I'm just going to make up something. Let's say you got a back issue, and every day it's like you got to crawl out of bed. Maybe you're financially set, but every day you got to crawl out of the bed and just drag yourself and do what you got to do and go to work and clean the house. But you got this nagging, aching pain. That time for that is over. Maybe the fact that you carried yourself so well, you carried yourself so well, and you never disparaged God in front of people and said, I don't know why God ain't healing. Maybe you weren't a complainer. Maybe you just trusted God and just said, God, I know you see me, and I know you're going to handle this. This is the time where you're going to reap for that faith that you had. You're going to reap it in July. These things are going to happen in July, because 7 is the number of completion. And 7, it's one of the numbers of completion. There's a couple other numbers that are. So you're going to receive rest and receive what you have been laboring. You're going to receive that harvest for what you have been laboring for all this time.